beyond excited right now. So I haven't done, honestly, I might not have done a reading vlog since I read The Tower of Nero. I don't think I have. I can't think of one, at least. So it came out sometime during October or September of 2021. So it's been a year and a half, almost a year and a half since that book came out. In the Percy Jackson universe, that's the most recent book. But he has just released The Sun and the Star, which is a book starring Nico D'Angelo and Will Soulless, but I believe it's all in, actually it might not be POVs, it might just be third person. It follows both of them, but it's Nico. I can't. I just need to talk about this for a second. So Nico has like always been my favorite. This is Nico. He has always been my favorite Percy Jackson character out of literally all of the series. He's my favorite. And you know, in the entire first series, he was in the background. He was in a dark spot, and he didn't have any POVs, obviously, because it was all from Percy's POV. Then in Heroes of Olympus, he wasn't in any of the first 3 books. House of Hades, he kind of took more of a lead role because he was helping everyone navigate the House of Hades. And then that thing happened in House of Hades when he was outed. But I also that wasn't in Nico's POV. And then in Blood of Olympus, the last book in the Heroes of Olympus, he actually had some POV chapters, which are just like his POV chapters in Blood of Olympus are so personal to me. It's just crazy. And then the Trials of Apollo happened and he wasn't really in it, but then he was in the Tower of Nero, which was the last book. And that essentially set up this book, because at the very end of it, Rachel gives this prophecy, and it's kind of just a thing where they're like, we'll worry about that later, and then the book ended. And so this is kind of the continuation of that sort of thing. First of all, my Grishaverse bookmark, would just like to point that out. The cover is so cute. I'm gonna read the back because it says, demigods Nico D'Angelo and Will Soulless must endure the terrors of Tartarus in their attempt to rescue an old friend in this thrilling adventure. An old friend? Is it Bob? But like, the cover is gorgeous. But look at that! The sun and the star. That's so cute. And then the sun and the star. It's so cute. And then just like looking at the book from this part, I'm assuming these pages here that are like darkened are either I was gonna say when they're in the underworld, because alright, what I was saying was I have an illustrated copy of The Lightning Thief, which in the part in The Lightning Thief, which when they're in the underworld, you can see the pages are all black, and so you can like see that from the side of the book when it's closed. And similar to how this looks, but I feel like they're gonna be in the underworld for like a lot of this book, more than just those few pages. So I'm like, is that when they're in Tartarus? But I don't know. So I guess we'll find out. But it's gonna be fun, isn't it? Also, should say, there's a map. It's not a map necessarily. It's more of like, it shows all the locations they go. A lot of them are just locations in the underworld. Some things I do want to bring up. The first stop is Sally Jackson's apartment, which is... So the thing is, I'm like, are they going to see Sally or are they going to see Percy? When does this take place? Okay, so Percy probably wouldn't be there, so I think they're probably going to see Sally, which is... I'm just excited to see whatever happens at that apartment, because it's sort of a thing now that in like most quests end up leading demigods to Sally Jackson's apartment. However, I am going into this like not that scared. Rick genuinely, and I'm so for real, cannot kill these characters. Nico and Will aren't gonna die in this book. And I know that. Because, like, that's just... He, like, actually can't do that. Or he will be cancelled. I'm gonna start reading. I'm very excited. Okay, I'm thoroughly enjoying this so far, but he kind of just confirmed that this is about Bob the Titan, and y'all don't even know how huge Bob the Titan is to the fandom. The amount of like jokes about this guy, the amount of tears shed about this guy, it's really crazy. I'm so excited to see him back. And like if they give him a happy ending, that's gonna be like so crazy. You know what's actually crazy? So they're kind of like recounting everything that's happened with Bob the Titan. And so they just, like Nico just said, then a year and a half ago, Percy and Annabeth fell into Tartarus. And it's wild that in the timeline, this is only a year and a half after that. The book where Percy and Annabeth fell into Tartarus genuinely came out in like either 2012 or 2013. It's been over 10 years since that book came out, but there's been so much content that took place in the timeline so close together that it's only been a year and a half for them. We're 22 pages in and Nico's having a dream about Bianca. That's terrible news. Bianca's his sister who died when he was like 10 and kind of scarred him for life. I am dead the way Nico's talking about his crush on Percy. His old crush on Percy. This is one of the craziest things Rick has ever done. Like, that is insane. And this, like, that's so funny. I just finished Nico's whole, like, dream sequence. Or he's just, like, living or reliving trauma after trauma after trauma. Okay, so Rachel just came in and blurted out the prophecy. So the prophecy is go forth and find the one who calls your name, who suffers and despairs for refusing to remain. So that's obviously giving Bob the Titan, I'm assuming. And then the next lines are there leave something of equal value behind, or your body and soul no one will ever find. So what I'm getting from that is obviously life-threatening mission, but also leaving something of equal value behind. If it's Nico and Will going together, I'm assuming the drama is going to be that Nico's expected to leave Will behind. Which isn't going to happen, because Rick can't kill Will. Okay, I am 11% through the book. Wow. Yeah, I'm on chapter 6. I stopped right before chapter 6. And so far, I'm just loving it. I really am. It's so good. So Nico and Will just got their quest. Really fun. This book is it's co-written by Mark Oshiro. And I think this is the first book that is like co-written with like Rick co-writing with another author, and I think it's going really well. Like I knew it was co-written, but like so far it feels like it doesn't feel like weird because there's two writers, you know. It feels very true to the characters, which I'm loving. And like the reason it's so great, the reason Rick was like I want a co-writer for this book was because I think part of it might have been because he was working on the TV show, and so he was like, I might not have the full time to do this book. But then he was also like, since so much of this book is revolved around Nico and Will's relationship, he wanted to get a co-writer that was actually like LGBTQ and could actually like get into those experiences, which I love that for him. Rick Riordan stays lane. He stays unproblematic. Okay, so I have a really lame update right now, but it's like completely the next day. I'm on page 127, 129 right now. I'm still loving it. I really am still loving it, but it's 10 p.m. right now, so I have to go to bed. And I know in the last clip you saw me, I was saying I had to go to bed. It's happening again. I hate homework. This book really had to come out on a Tuesday. It needs to come out on like a Friday night, because I need time to just sit down and read, but I don't, because I have all this homework. But on the other hand, it's like making me actually like take my time to read it, because if it was up to me, I'd read this in one night. So, you know, that's just how the dice roll. But I just love it so much. So far, they did do a little iris message with Percy and Annabeth, which was really cute. And so they're in the underworld right now. They are about to visit the Troglites? I don't know how to say it. But they're about to visit them. And it's gonna be fun. Nico and Will are just the cutest ever. And they are perfect together. They're perfect together. And seeing Nico be so happy. Don't speak to me, I'm ill. Okay, so big update. It's Friday night now. I didn't read it all Thursday because I was just busy. I had a whole like dinner event to go to, so I didn't really get into reading, but here I am. And you may notice I'm about to read the pages I was talking about that are like darkened on the side. And I said in the beginning, that's what he does with the pages when they go to the underworld in the illustrated version of The Lightning Thief. And I was like, well, I don't know, is this gonna be when they're in the underworld? Is it gonna be when they're in Tartarus? And I was kind of right, but it goes deeper than that. I can't tell if there's just like really big shadows under my eyes or if I have like mascara down there. I don't know. But so turns out these darkened pages are actually going to be a little flashback, or not a flashback, but like Nico going back and retelling the story of what happened to him when he was in Tartarus for the first time. So it's not like him and Will going into Tartarus. It's about when he was in Tartarus alone during the Mark of Athena, I guess it would be. Which I was not at all prepared for, and I'm slightly scared for. Because essentially, here's the whole deal. Let me take these off. So, in all of demigod history, there has been 3 demigods to survive going through Tartarus. And it's Nico, Percy, and Annabeth. And the thing that's crazy about it, Percy and Annabeth survived, they had each other to get themselves through it. And if they had been alone, neither one of them would have made it. And also, since they aren't children of Hades or like anything related to that, they also did not, there's the mist, which like blocks your full perception of demigod magical things. And demigods, obviously, like, they can see a lot of the stuff, but there's still some stuff that they can't see because of the mist. And so in Tartarus, it was still sort of like a misted version of it. So it wasn't even as bad as it actually is. Nico, however, was stuck down there alone for much longer than Percy and Annabeth. And since he's a child of Hades, he saw the full thing. Like, he saw like all of it, like all the terrors, all the horrible stuff. So he was like very, very traumatized by it. Like, Percy and Annabeth were traumatized, but Nico was like very traumatized. And so he is about to retell the story, which we've never had before, because, oh my god, it's so interesting. This book is so interesting because it's filling in so many blanks. Oh god, it's filling in so many things that have been missing from Nico's story, and it's just everything to me. It's gone all the way back to like when we met Nico for the first time, like filling in little parts of his development as a person and all this stuff, and his development with like his crush on Percy, and then like, him going through and like meeting Jason and like dealing with Jason's death, and then like meeting Will. Oh my god, it's crazy. Okay, so I'm I'm reading the Tartarus thing, and an event that I simply couldn't ignore happened just now. So Taylor Swift did just announce Speak Now Taylor's version. So that's great. Oh my god. Speak Now is, at this point I don't even know my ranking, but I love Speak Now. Like, I love Speak Now. And I've been waiting for Speak Now Taylor's version. She's been teasing it for so long. And she just announced it. And I actually can't believe it. I legit just posted on my story today. Taylor was gonna announce Speak Now Taylor's version tonight. And she literally did. I've never been right about anything in my life. That is insane. My brain is still in Speak Now mode, but the thing is, like, we knew it was coming for so long that I just, like, have to move on. So I'm reading, and there's so much happening in his inner thoughts in Tartarus, where he's just talking about, like Nico, he's saying Nico missed the other demigods, like Percy, Annabeth, and Jason, even if he wasn't sure they missed him. Like, that's so sad. And then he said, like, earlier, like, no one knows he's down there, and, like, no one's coming looking for him. Like, that's so sad. That's so sad. Okay. So, dude, it's actually just so cute. So, throughout the book, there's these little, they're chapters, but they're not like every chapter is like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, but then there's these random, like, little sections. They start with the boat at the top, and then it's like a very brief little section, and it's kind of a flash forward into a point later in their journey when they're with, I don't remember her name, this person, I can tell you her name, Gorgira, yeah, and she's got a boat. I think it's on the river Acheron in Tartarus, I think. And, like, so every once in a while throughout the story, as it's going on and they're, like, going through their journey, it cuts to them talking to this Gorgyra lady, because she requires you to tell her a story before you use her boat to travel through Tartarus. I think it's in Tartarus. And they're, like, beaten up, like, they're really in rough conditions, and I'm just, like, I'm obsessed with that structure of, like, having those little, like, sections of flash forwards happening, because, and since it's, like, she requires them to tell her a story, it's also a way of, like, getting Nico and Will's backstory, since, like, Nico and Will have literally never had, like, their own story happen. It's always been intermixed with other characters and all that stuff. Also, another thing, because I just started reading the next chapter, and, like, I didn't know if it was just a one-off thing in the beginning of the book, but because I'm reading this chapter now, I see that it's not. They're kind of doing Rick and Mark are doing a very cool thing, where it's mainly from, like, third person point of view, I guess, but it's mainly focusing on Nico, right? But there are these few chapters that are literally from Will's point of view, which is so cool, because it's mainly his dreams. Like, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of Rick's books focus on dreams. I think it's a solid way of telling the story, and it's worked for, like, 20 years, so why stop now? So they're using, like, Will's dreams to show his POV, and he's having a dream about getting taken to Camp Alpha for the first time, so I'm gonna cry. Okay, I just updated my story graph, and I'm 43% of the way through the book. I am, however, stopping for the night. I want to keep going. Like, I finish every chapter, and I'm like, I just want to keep going, but it is 1 a.m. So, might not be the best decision to keep reading. Nico has mentioned Jason quite a few times. To recap, Jason is the one who was there when Nico was outed by Cupid. Very traumatizing scene in House of Hades. And so after that moment, Jason very much, like, outwardly supported Nico in that experience. And so Nico kind of befriended him. Like, it kind of like was like an instant, I don't know if it was instant, but like they were just kind of bonded after that. Okay, so it's 11:30 at night, and I was, for the past like hour, I've been making a fun little video about Bruce Springsteen, which I posted on here, so that's fun. The quality is trash on YouTube. I swear to God, it looks better in my version on my phone. I filmed it on my phone. I don't know what you want from me. I have no tripod. All I have is my phone. So, yeah, but it was fun because I've been listening to Nebraska, his album, arguably his most famous one. But we have a CD of it, and so I was listening to it, and fire. Anyway, so that kind of distracted me from my reading. But I believe I'm gonna go upstairs right now, get a little snack, and snuggle into bed. And I'm going to read for, I imagine, the next like hour and a half. I'm gonna try to go until 1 a.m. again, like last night. Yeah. Dog, it's 1 a.m. so I have to whisper, but I'm cackling at the fact that Nico and Will are about to plunge into Tartarus, and Nico just made a reference to Montero by Lil Nas X. Which, this book, according to the timeline, should be taking place in like 2011, 2012-ish, around there. And he just referenced Lil Nas X. Rick Riordan gave up on the timeline continuity a long time ago, and it's coming through right now. Oh my god. Guys, this book is so... I can't keep going. It's meant to give a big bow, and then... But the reason why I was really, like, I feel like I've read that before is because in the House of Hades, Annabeth literally, like, as they're falling into Tartarus, Annabeth's whispering to Percy, I love you. And that's like, Nico, Dad. And also, okay, so in here, like, she says like 9 days is how long it takes to fall into Tartarus. Because in the Sun and Star, they don't really ever confirm. Oh my god, it's just, I just love the like similarities. Also, another thing, because I was looking at this earlier, the similarities in the covers, like, don't those look so similar? Like, don't they? They do. Just like, it's so cute. But the thing is, like, look at this cover. That definitely looks like Nico, and that definitely looks like Will. That does not look like Percy. I don't know who that is. Like, obviously, that's Annabeth. But when I saw this cover for the first time, I genuinely thought that was Nico. Because, like, look. Don't those men look the same? I don't know. But apparently it's Percy. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but there was a beautiful little part of the book where they talked about how Nico came out to Will, and it was like this whole thing. It was kind of a misunderstanding because Nico talked to the nymphs and wanted them to set up like a little private picnic for Nico and Will, but they accidentally set up like a huge party for the whole camp, and so Nico came out to everyone at the same time, and it ended up helping a lot of demigods. And they all were like, oh, we're safe to come out here. And they also mentioned that Malcolm Pace, who is one of Annabeth's siblings, he's queer. And then they also talked about like Piper, and I just so cute. It's the next morning, and I'm reading, and I just realized, so there are different chapters, like most of it's from Nico's point of view, but some are in Will's point of view. And I just realized at the top of each chapter there's this thing. It looks like that, but like that's a Will chapter. Like it's fully a black thing, but then Will's have like a burst of light in the middle, which I did not realize at all, and that's so cute. Okay, so page like 422, and there's like 460 pages. They got Bob Slay, and they are like about to escape Tartarus, but I believe Nyx is about to like fight them again. So they're not quite out, but they're like almost there. So Will just made a Paramore reference. I can't. The little random references are my favorite thing ever. Catch them opening for Paramore this winter, says Will. I'm dead. Okay, so they have returned to camp. I have 2 chapters left, but they returned to camp, and there was a brief mention of Bob says hello to the stars. Nothing that made me cry though, so that's good. But it was like a little like when they got to when they got out of the underworld and they were on the Long Island Sound and Bob saw the stars, he was crying. So that's cute. I just had to shut the book out of shock because Nico was he's IMing Piper. IMing is like DMing. No, it's not. It's like FaceTiming, but it's in like water. Don't worry about it. He's gonna talk to Piper. What? I finished it. I actually can't. That book was so good. Like, it was really, like, it was really deep. Like, I feel like it's so interesting to have Nico and Will as main characters, because, like, there hasn't really been, I guess, other than, like, maybe Magnus, Chase, and Alex, there hasn't been, like, a main couple as, like, the 2 main characters of a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 2 main characters. Like, there hasn't been many, like, relationship issues in any of Rick's books. Like, Percy and Annabeth are just, like, meant to be together forever, and they're just, like, they don't really fight that much. But, like, this showed, like, them being so different from each other and, like, finding a way to work through it and still being so happy together. Like, it's so good. Okay, so I'm gonna do a final, like, review of the book. I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but basically I did review this on Storygraph and I gave it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars because how could I not? Like, seriously, like, Nico has been my favorite character in the Percy Jackson universe, and also just maybe favorite character ever since I was 12 and I'm almost 16. And so the fact that we're finally getting a book of his own that is just so focused on him and his mental state, his traumas, everything that's happened to him in his life is so good. And also just being able to see him being happy. It's just the kid's never been happy before in his life, and he's happy now, and that's so great. And he's hopeful. I can't. It's such a cute book. It's also, okay, I will say, the book is like mildly terrifying. It's a little spooky at times, but you know, it's a Tartarus book, so that's kind of gonna happen, you know. I feel like this compared to House of Hades, because that's the book when Percy and Annabeth were in Tartarus, I feel like House of Hades might have been a little, like, scarier, but I think that's just because, like, Nico had been in Tartarus before. He kind of knew what was going on, which gave it a little bit more, like, stability. And also I knew neither one of them were gonna die. Like, there's actually no future in which he killed one of the characters. Like, there's no way. And so it was kind of like, I was kind of okay with it. And it was also like, they didn't know how they were gonna get out of the underworld, but they knew it wasn't gonna be the doors of death. Or at least I knew that, because there was no one at the top to get them out, so, like, it wasn't gonna be the doors of death. And so I was just like, they'll find a way out somehow. With Percy and Annabeth, it was like they had to get to the doors and then like time it exactly right so that when they got to the top, there had to be someone on the other side at the top. Like, was it Hazel? It was either Hazel, Frank, or Leo. It was Leo. He threw a screwdriver, yeah, and to like save them at the exact right time. So that felt a little more like stakes, but also this one was kind of crazy because like Nico was able to see the full reality of Tartarus. Will started to see it eventually when they got like really deep into Tartarus, and he was kind of starting to lose it. I don't know, it's been a while since I've read House of Hades, but I will just say, like, on its own, this book did a really good job of like showing how it affected them mentally in Tartarus. Like, they were like, Will was losing it. I love the idea of a son of Apollo in Tartarus. Not that I love it, it's just interesting because like he's so fueled by sunlight, and to be down there, like, he was struggling and he did it anyway. So yeah, it was definitely really good. And there were so many, like, I don't know, maybe I just have like middle school humor but I was like laughing out loud at this book. Like, I don't know, at this point it's like Rick has written so many books and he's set up so many great characters that now this book, he kind of just wrote this for the fans, and I appreciate that. I'm trying to think of any complaints I have. I genuinely can't think of anything. I wish there had been, I don't know, I was gonna say, like, I wish there had been more, like, when they were at Camp Half-Blood, it was during the winter, or like not during the winter, but like it was like the end of summer, maybe fall. And so there were no campers at camp except for Kayla and Austin every once in a while, because they were going on where'd they go, because they were back at the end, I don't know, but they were there, but no one else was there because they'd all gone home since it wasn't summer anymore. And so I wish we got camp content that like had other campers there, but like really I don't care. So yeah, this book was so good. It was so good.